We like to think we're civilized now, right? But if you were alive just a few centuries ago, you wouldn't fear wild animals or ghosts. You'd fear humans. Because back then, pain wasn't just punishment, it was entertainment. And today, we're ranking the 10 most painful historical punishments, from the least to the worst and absolutely unforgettable, ranked in my own opinion. 10. Chinese water torture. Imagine being tied down, unable to move, and a single drop of water lands on your forehead. Then another. Then another. At first, it feels harmless, but soon your nerves start to break. Your brain can't predict the rhythm anymore, slowly losing touch with reality, hallucinating, shouting, begging for it to stop. And let's not forget the physical toll. After a while, irritation and swelling made it unbearable. Still, compared to what comes next, this one's almost merciful. 9. Keelhauling. Now, imagine you're a sailor in the 1600s, tied with rope, tossed into the sea, and dragged beneath the ship. As the ship moves, the real fear begins. The rough hull, covered in sharp barnacles, scrapes against your body as you're pulled under the ship's keel. That's how this brutal punishment earned its name. If the victim didn't drown first, they'd suffer severe wounds. Painful? Absolutely. But in terms of duration, short. Let's just say the next one lasts a lot longer. 8. The Spanish donkey. This is where things start to get extreme. People were made to sit on a sharp wooden wedge like a donkey's back, except the top was thin and angled. Their hands were tied behind them, and weights were added to their legs, increasing the pressure slowly. The more the weight, the deeper the discomfort. It was designed for humiliation and public spectacle. Like, come to think of it, I hope real donkeys never find out their name was used for something this dark. 7. Crushed by elephants. In ancient Asia, particularly India, justice sometimes came on 4 legs. Execution by elephant was used in India and Southeast Asia for centuries. These elephants weren't random, they were trained. A single command from the ruler, and the animal would step exactly where ordered. Some rulers made it fast, but others turned it into a long, drawn-out show, having the elephant step on different parts before finishing the job. It was terrifying in public. But this wasn't as terrifying as the next one. 6. Subscribe. I mean, subscribing wasn't exactly an ancient punishment, and also not terrifying, right? So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Now, let's move on to the next one. 6. The rack. The rack was introduced to England in the 15th century by the Duke of Exeter. It looked simple, a wooden frame with rollers at both ends. The victim's arms and legs were tied in opposite directions, and a crank was turned. Each turn stretched the body tighter, pulling joints until they dislocated. The sound? Not pleasant. It was designed to extract information, and many confessed to things they never did, just to make it stop. 5. The breaking wheel, or Catherine wheel. When you thought human imagination couldn't get worse, it did. People were tied to a large wooden wheel, and their limbs were struck with an iron bar, one by one. Then, their body was woven between the spokes and left there for hours or even days. Birds often gather around, and that's all I'll say. It wasn't just punishment, it was a public warning. This was one of the most infamous punishments ever created. And believe me, it only goes downhill from here. 4. The saw. This one made even hardened enforcers look away. Victims were hung upside down, not to be merciful, but to keep them conscious longer. Then, a large saw was used to cut down the middle, slowly, deliberately. Because of the position, the blood rushed to the head, keeping the person awake for longer than anyone should be. Like, bro, who thought about this in the first place? 3. The rat's cup. One of the most psychologically terrifying punishments ever recorded. A metal container, often a bowl or cage, was placed on the victim's stomach. Inside, hungry rats. The container was then heated from above. Trapped and desperate to escape, the rats dug the only way they could downward. Let's just say the rat escaped, but it didn't end well for the victim. It's the kind of horror that haunted witnesses for life. Still, if you think this is the worst, wait till you meet the ancient art of Scaphism. 2. Scaphism, a Persian masterpiece of cruelty. The person was trapped between two wooden boats or hollowed logs with their head, hands, and feet sticking out. They were fed milk and honey until they couldn't move, then covered in honey to attract insects. Then, they were left floating in a swamp. Days passed. Flies, worms, and other creatures slowly invaded every part of their body. It wasn't death by force, it was death by nature. Death came from infection, dehydration, and madness. This could last over a week. 1. The Brazen Bull, the crown jewel of ancient cruelty. Invented in ancient Greece, this massive bronze statue of a bull was hollow inside. People were locked within, and a fire was lit beneath it. As the metal heated up, it turned into an oven. The screams inside echoed through pipes, making it sound like the bull was bellowing. According to legend, the inventor himself, Perillus of Athens, was the first to be tested by the same ruler he built it for. Irony never burned so bright. It wasn't just punishment, it was theater. And it remains, without question, one of the most infamous executions in history. Humanity has evolved, but the imagination that created these nightmares once lived in people just like us. Maybe the scariest part of history is that it wasn't monsters doing this, it was humans. This ranking was based on my opinion, so let me know in the comments which one you think was the worst. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And also, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out this video next. Cheers.